Sometimes buying in bulk is the way to go when it comes to stocking up on prepping items. And a lot of people don't know this, but you can actually order pallets of preparedness-related items right off of Amazon and have them delivered right to you. And that's pretty wild. Now, of course, on an individual basis, you might not need a pallet of one particular item regarding prepping. But if you're part of a group or a large family or part of a CERT in your community, well, maybe it's worth looking at what a pallet of these items can actually provide you with during an emergency situation. So we're going to talk about the top 10 best prepping items you can get by the pallet from Amazon. Now, I do want to thank Midway USA for being the biggest supporter of the channel. And of course, they have a lot of stuff when it comes to preparedness. And in fact, they even sell pallets themselves. They have pallets of deer food available right on their website. But obviously, a lot of the things we're going to talk about in this video you can't get from Midway USA, but anything else related to preparedness or equipment that you might need, please check them out. A big thanks to Midway USA. Now, what's the first item that I think is one of the best prepping items you can get by the pallet from Amazon? Well, bottled water, okay? Of course, bottled water might not be the most efficient way to store water or the best way in the sense of long-term storage, but in an emergency, especially on a large-scale basis of having a group or community to be concerned about, well, bottled water makes things very, very easy. And you get a pallet of bottled water, 1,872 bottles of water for $755 right off of Amazon. So, look, before we go further, I just want to say, not everything here is going to be the most cost-effective way to do it. It's just convenient and it's delivery right to wherever you are. So keep that in mind, and some of these items require special delivery accommodations, like being able to have load gate services. So keep that in mind, okay? Now, the second item that I think is the best preparedness-related item you can get by the pallet on Amazon is going to be food rations, or MREs, humanitarian rations, which obviously is a good thing to have for preparedness purposes. And of course, you can get a pallet of MREs. You'll get 480 MREs total for $1,600. So, food, always important in an emergency, has a long shelf life, easy to hand out, distribute, and then be eaten thereafter. Can't really go wrong with a pallet of MREs, at least in my opinion. I don't have a pallet of MREs, but I do store MREs for preparedness purposes. I think they're a good idea. Now, the third item on this list is going to be a pallet of parboiled white rice, which is just good to have. Lasts a long time, can be stored away for up to 25 years if you do it properly. And of course, it's high in calories, it's very dense, it's easy to store. People eat rice all over the planet. You can get a pallet of rice from Amazon. You'll get 2,750 pounds of it for $2,221. That's a lot of money, but it's also a lot of rice. So the fourth item on this list is something that nobody has enough of. We always need more of it because it has so many different uses in an emergency scenario. And that's salt. And you can get a pallet of sea salt off Amazon right now. 2,500 pounds of salt for $2,200. Not bad. You'll have salt for preserving food, salt for cleaning wounds, salt for eating, salt for anything you can think of. I need more salt, you need more salt, we all need more salt. Now, I do want to say there will be links to these items in the description as well as in the pinned comment. So if you want to check them out, feel free. And any of the links I share are Amazon affiliate links, which do help support the channel. I just wanted you to be aware of that. But at the same time, it gives you some ideas of stuff to think about, even if you're not in the market to buy a pallet of anything right this second, okay? And a lot of these items you can actually switch from the pallet size to the singular option or whatever other size you might be looking for. So keep that in mind as well. Now, another pallet of preparedness items you can get right off of Amazon is going to be bar soap, okay? Hygiene is going to be very important in an SHTF type scenario. And people tend to overlook it because we take it for granted, especially here in the United States where people shower on a daily basis, right? So having the ability to stay clean throughout a long-term duration emergency is important. Now you can get a pallet of bar soap. This is like hotel-style soap. You'll get 28,800 bars of soap for $6,644. Now look, are there more economical ways to make soap in a disaster scenario? Well, of course, but that's probably easier to do for maybe you and your immediate family. Could you do it on a community level? Could you do it on a group level, right? So just keep that stuff in mind. That's a lot of soap, but soap is also very important. Now, speaking of hygiene, we can also talk about something a lot of people were very concerned about in the year 2020 when everyone lost their minds and forgot how to clean themselves without this one handy dandy piece of equipment, which I'm going to call toilet paper. So you can get a pallet of toilet paper off Amazon for $1,469, and that will provide you with 2,400 rolls of toilet paper. Hey, that's a lot of toilet paper. Hopefully you can make it through whatever emergency you're dealing with when it comes to wiping your butt. Now, one more thing on hygiene, because it's that important. We got to stay clean during an emergency. Otherwise, disease gets spread and people die young. So, how do you keep things clean other than just yourself? Well, you got to have a way to clean them. You can get a pallet of Lysol wipes, disinfectant wipes. I know, not the most efficient. I know, makes a lot of trash, but you can get these for, like I said, a community, not just for your one particular house. I'm not going to buy a pallet of Lysol wipes just for my own house. But being able to clean things and disinfect things, especially if there's some sort of biological threat, is important. And a pallet of these wipes is $1,684, and you get 450 containers of wipes. That's a lot. Okay. What is very important during an emergency that you might need a pallet of? Well, I think the ability to produce power could be very important and maintain power. But it's something that you have to set up and put the infrastructure in place ahead of time. However, if you're going to do that and you want to provide yourself with renewable energy throughout an emergency, solar is one of the best ways to do that. And you can actually get a pallet of solar panels right off of Amazon. And there's tons of different options, but for this particular option, you get a 12-pack of panels on a pallet that are each 400 watts, and it's $3,900. I mean, solar is a really good thing to have in an emergency, and you're going to need that many panels if you want to make sure you have enough power to keep things moving. Now, of course, you'll have to have inverters and batteries and everything else related to a solar system, but when it comes to the panels themselves, you're going to need a lot of them if you want to be able to fully power whatever type of facility you want to run during the apocalypse, which might be a trading post, might be a fallout shelter, who knows? Now, speaking of preparedness, self-defense comes to mind, and defending yourself from things like fallout comes to mind. And who knows, maybe a catastrophic flood could be an issue. So what's one thing that everybody always needs more of, especially on a community scale? Well, I'm going to say sandbags. And you can get a pallet of sandbags. 15,000 sandbags for $5,000. No, they're not pre-filled, they're just the bags. But it gives you a lot of sandbags to work with, which can shield you from a lot of things. Bullets, fallout, water, a lot, okay? So it's hard to beat sandbags in their versatility, and at the same time, if you're splitting these costs up between like a group, right, or a community, it ends up not being that much, and you might get enough sandbags to do what you need to do while everybody else has what they need as well. So all these things have to be kept in mind when we're talking about pallets of one particular item, right? Now here's the thing, you could get them pre-filled if you want it, and you can get pre-filled sandbags by the pallet off of Amazon. All these things are on Amazon. I know it's ridiculous, but still, pre-filled sandbags by the pallet. You get 100 sandbags that are already filled for $1,645. Now, here's the thing. This is where you need liftgate services because in all honesty, that's a lot of weight. But you know what? You don't have to do any digging or fill the bags yourself. You just have them ready to go and ready to deploy as needed. So that's an option for you too, but sandbags I think are a really good idea. Now, the last thing on this list, we're at number 10 now. We weren't counting, but there were 10, so don't worry, I didn't cheap out on you. The last thing on this list is going to be something that's important to most people that want to be prepared and have some level of self-sufficiency and also try to produce something, right? And that's soil. You can get a pallet of gardening soil on Amazon delivered to you for $1,500. And a pallet gives you 60 bags, 2 cubic foot bags, and you get 60 of them for $1,500. So if you're gardening or you intend to start a garden or you want to have some soil on hand in case you decide to start gardening, you can get a pallet of soil delivered right to you right off of Amazon. Is that the most efficient way or the most effective way? No, of course not. But is it maybe the easiest way? Probably, in the sense of not wanting to do much work other than answering your door maybe, right? Either way, all of these things are on Amazon by the pallet, and they all have preparedness relevance when it comes to wanting to do things on a larger scale. And honestly, I'm not saying this is something you should do on an individualized basis, right? That's a lot of stuff and a lot of money. But what I'm saying is that if you have a group, if you have a MAG, right, a mutual assistance group, if you have a large family, you've got uncles and cousins and nephews and nieces and everybody living right in your general vicinity, or you maybe are part of your community on a very intimate level. Maybe you're part of the CERT, aka the Community Emergency Response Team, and you want your community to invest in some of these pallets so that you have them for giving out to the rest of the community during an emergency, right? These are all considerations to make. But I thought it was kind of interesting that you could just get these things that easily and that they're available and that it at least would give you something to think about. And even if you're not in the market for pallets and pallets of preparedness-related items, at least now you might think, okay, well, maybe I do want some MREs, just maybe not a pallet. Or, yeah, you're right, I should probably get some more disinfectant wipes or some more bar soap, or I definitely need more salt. Well, now you have all those ideas, you can just scale them down to something more reasonable for you and your personal situation, right? So, like I said, there will be links down below in the description as well as in the pinned comment. Big thanks to Midway USA for making videos like this possible. I really appreciate them helping me out, which means I can help you out, which means in general, we're all trying to help out the preparedness community as a whole. And anything else you need from me, go to magicprepper.com. And besides that, that's going to be it for Magic Prepper.